This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist CJ Cartledge.
And good morning, everyone. I'm First Alert meteorologist CJ Cartledge here, back again on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. I hope everyone is having a great Friday morning so far. I know I am. I was just on for the morning show, KSLA News 12 this morning with Jalea Daughtry. It was pretty fun talking about the weather and listening to the news this morning for sure. But as we move through the next couple of days, the headline pretty much remains the same. Hot and humid conditions all over the Arklatex. And that's going to be the main headline for today's podcast here. We're going into the hot and humid forecast that we are expecting or that we're going to be talking about here for this weekend and into much of next week is a typical summer pattern here in the Arklatex. But we're also going to be talking about a nationwide forecast for anyone that's going to be traveling this weekend that is going away from the Shreveport-Bossier area or going away from the Arklatex and coming back as well. We're going to be diving into that on this podcast for today. So, first order of business, we're going to be taking a quick look outside right about now here. This is our KSLA tower camera right now. I'm going to move this out of the screen here. This is our KSLA tower camera overlooking downtown Shreveport and the Red River down below here. Actually, I'm going to give you guys a full wide look at what's going on here. That's I-20. That's heading eastbound and westbound there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We're looking at mostly clear conditions out there. We are seeing a little bit of some cloud cover, so it's not fully clear out there in those skies, but we are seeing mostly sunny conditions out there, and the temperatures are warming up. The conditions are warming up as of right now across the Arklatex here for the region here. And as you can see with forecast headlines, we are stuck in a mostly dry and hot and humid pattern here in the Arklatex, mainly because of the high pressure system off to our east, still stuck in the south and eastern portions of the Arklatex region as we speak here. And I'll give you a quick depiction of that in just a second here. We're also talking about more rain possible that's going to be possible next week, and I'll dive into why that's happening in just a second here. And the new area to watch is right now going on right now in the tropics. It's mainly in the Gulf of Mexico, so that I know that's pretty close to home, but we're going to be diving into the chances for that potentially reaching hurricane or tropical storm status later on in this forecast as well here. So diving into radar and satellite as of right now. This is the main driver of why we are seeing these mostly sunny conditions during the morning and isolated rain chances in the afternoon because of that high pressure system that is currently sitting over states like Tennessee, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. It's sitting right there, and it's not moving at all. That's why that low pressure system is up there in the upper or the northern plains, or the upper Midwest is what I was calling it, or what I was trying to say. The low pressure system just sitting up to the north and west of that high pressure system there is pretty much stalling in that area here. It's bringing showers and storms to areas like that's Kansas and Missouri and Arkansas as well. And it's also bringing some isolated rain chances to us here in the Arklatex. It's also bringing some northerly winds to us here in the Arklatex here across the region. But as we zoom into the Arklatex region here, we're still dealing with a little bit of some northerly winds here, but we will be seeing southerly flow dominate our weather pattern as we move towards the afternoon hours here around the Arklatex. Here's a look at First Alert Doppler radar. We are seeing, as was shown before, mostly sunny conditions across the area here with a little bit of some cloud covers. Not too bad here for this Friday morning. 86 looks to be the temperature right now as compared to what it was at the 9 a.m. show. It was this is a pretty drastic difference. We were sitting mostly in the 70s out there, and some of us into the lower 80s, but all of us around the Arklatex have warmed up into the 80s already. 88 already near Bienville and Natchitoches. I can only tell that the humidity is a little bit higher than that. 88 near Natchitoches, Bienville, as I said before. 87 near Texarkana. 82 for DeQueen, and 83 over by Longview and Nacogdoches as of right now. But in terms of feels like temperatures, more than 10 degrees higher than what the actual temperatures are right now. Is Also, if you were listening to the morning show this morning, I did workout forecast, and I've mentioned that if you wanted to go outside and work out, you might as well do it in the very early morning hours of the day, because by the time we reach around 10:30, 11 o'clock, which is where it is right now, where time is right now, then the heat and humidity of the day, the highest heat and humidity of the day, will pretty much take place. But we aren't close to the highest yet. We could see, feels like temperatures reach well into the triple digits across most of the Arctic once again here for the region, but that number looks to drop, mainly due to the potential for isolated rain chances across the region as well by this afternoon. Our highs for today around the region, putting myself back off the screen here, 95 for Coshada and Shreveport, 91 for Minden, staircasing up to 93 for the east side of I-20 as you move farther eastward, 93 for Ruston, 92 for Longview and Marshall. Maybe only the upper 80s up there near Idabel, and it looks to be at around 90 degrees for a high near Nacogdoches here to the far south and east. But in terms of feels like temperatures for today, we are seeing mostly upper 90s, but we could see some triple digits out there across the region near Shreveport, Marshall, Texarkana, 95 for Minden, 90 or 100 near Ruston, upper 90s up there to the far north and western portions of the Arklatex as well. So definitely another hot and humid day is in store for the Arklatex region. In terms of heat risk potential for us, this is another sort of parameter that we look at to denote how hot or humid it is going to be. Everywhere around the region is going to see some types of heat and humidity throughout the Arklatex. Today it won't be as bad as what we've seen for the past couple of days, but it may grow as we move into our Saturday and Sunday here, with more orange colors appearing across the region, denoting the moderate heat and humidity. But we could see some major heat and humidity for areas just south of Texarkana near that Texas, Arkansas line there, our state line. As we move towards Monday, Tuesday, and eventually on our Wednesday, we could see a lower humidity factor before it starts to rise once again, heading towards the rest of the work week, or it may drop it as we move towards the rest of the work week. I have to check back on that. I know earlier this morning it said that the humidity was going to drop heading towards Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the upcoming work week, but it's going to remain high during the beginning of the work week here. So as you can see, Thursday, bringing back that heat and humidity, maybe some extreme heat and humidity with that purple color there, just outside of the forecast area here, just outside of the Arklatex. But in terms of the muggy meter, this is what I was talking about before in terms of the humidity dropping. Noticeable drop, by the way, by the time we reach the middle to end part of our work week, but that doesn't seem to correspond to the heat risk potential. But this is a more trusted source here, the muggy meter is. We should see a slight drop in humidity heading into the weekend before it rises as we move towards the beginning of a work week, but it should drop again and have a noticeable drop as we move towards our Wednesday and Thursday of the next work week, and potentially on Friday as well. In terms of the rain chances for the next 24 hours, they're expected to rise by the time we hit the afternoon, of course, which is a couple hours from now, mainly due to isolated or daytime-driven, isolated, I don't know what I'm saying, daytime-driven showers and storms across the region. There we go. It was up very early this morning, so please bear with me. But as you can see near Texarkana and Natchitoches, we are seeing some slight rain chances as well. So this is not only for Shreveport and Bossier, but also for the rest of the Arklatex. But in terms of tomorrow, we can pretty much see a very similar pattern, with Texarkana seeing the high rain chances also, but not as high as what we are possibly going to see for today as we move through the daytime hours. Tomorrow, we should see lower chance for rain near Texarkana, but a very similar rain chance for areas near Natchitoches in the southern half of the Arklatex region. And in total, through the next 7 days, we should see more rainfall in the eastern half of the Arklatex and the northern. It looks to be most likely avoiding those areas around I-20, along the west side of I-20 in East Texas here. So that's pretty coincidental of that. But Texarkana may receive around a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain through the next 7 days, maybe up to a quarter of an inch for the far south and eastern portions of the region, but the far northern portions of the area may see the higher rainfall potential through the next 7 days ahead here. Here's a look at our 7 day forecast before we move on to the next topic, which is our national forecast. We're going into a little bit of future track for what we can expect for this weekend if you're traveling to any areas around the region or around the country. Here's our 7 day forecast. We're expecting the low to mid 90s through the rest of the forecast period through the next 7 days ahead. Slight rain chances for our Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday through Thursday, pretty much. So make sure to keep that umbrella handy. We have maybe a couple of some rainy afternoons ahead, just depending on where these isolated showers may end up. And by the way, it's pretty hard to forecast where exactly those isolated showers may end up. That's why we have the slight rain chances there. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen or there's a likelihood that it will happen, but it means that there is a chance for rain around the Arklatex. So make sure to be ready for that. Keep an umbrella handy. Raincoat may not be so may not be so essential for the next 7 days ahead. Maybe by the middle to late part of a work week. Maybe because when the high pressure moves east of us, that allows for more instability in our area. So that's why we have the higher rain chances for our Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe not so much by the time we hit our Thursday of the next work week here. So that's pretty much it for the Arklatex. I'll be talking to you about the national forecast, and I'll be diving a little bit more into the tropics and what we can expect in terms of the tropics and what's going on right now. What the National Hurricane Center has been highlighting out there in the Gulf of Mexico, actually, which is pretty close to home, as mentioned before earlier in the show. So after this quick break, I will be talking about the national forecast as well as the tropics. So make sure to stay tuned for around 2 minutes. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back here. We're going to be diving right into our national forecast here for the country, pretty much here. So let's jump right into it. We're going to start with our high temperatures around the Arklatex region in different cities, different major cities around the Arklatex. Dallas looks to see a high of 94 degrees, maybe some upper 80s up there near Jackson, and maybe some afternoon thunderstorms out there, maybe having a higher chance for storms as we move through the afternoon for today. Looks to be at around 89 degrees, same upper 90s and upper 80s and lower 90s for our Houston area. For areas near Monroe, Little Rock, New Orleans, and Dallas, they may see the higher temperatures or higher end of the scale. in terms of today. New Orleans may see more storms as compared to others, as you can see by the icon there, but not as much. May see more cloudier conditions as compared to everybody else that is listed here on our Friday. As we look towards tomorrow, though, our Saturday, these same cities could see highs mainly in the upper 90s once again near Dallas. It's possibly because they're a urban area. Urbanized areas are more warmer as compared to other areas, other localized areas that are outside of urban, or what do you call those, suburban areas, or suburban or rural areas. That's the word I was looking for. It's mainly because of a process called urban heat island, where the sun is pretty much, whenever you see like big buildings, the sun pretty much bounces, or the sun's rays bounce off the buildings and the concrete, and makes the urbanized areas more warmer as compared to rural areas that have less concrete or blacktop or less buildings for the heat to bounce off of. Usually just seeps right into the ground here. But New Orleans looks to be at around I have a high around the upper 80s with more storms possible during the daytime hours. Little Rock around 93 for a high. Monroe around 94. Then we may see Jackson and Houston hit the 90-degree mark or get higher than that for tomorrow to start off our weekend, with more chances for afternoon storms across those areas. Here's a look at future track across the region here. I'm going to slow this down a little bit. It just got a little bit of ahead of itself. I'm going to move myself off of the screen here. There's a high pressure system off to the south and eastern corner of the United States here. But as we move to the afternoon, as you can see, a lot of rainfall or a lot of isolated showers will be popping up across the region, which is why I had mentioned that New Orleans or places like Houston may get an isolated rain shower or two through the day today or through the afternoon today. And once we hit the evening hours, all of these or most of these isolated showers may diminish through the rest of the night, and we should be mostly calm as we move into our Saturday morning here, with the exception of those in the Midwestern regions like Arkansas and Missouri and that four state corner there near Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, or five corner state there. But as we move through the daytime hours on Saturday, we could see some storm activity near east or western Tennessee, near Memphis or just outside of Memphis. And there goes those daytime driven showers across the region, especially for the areas down to the south and eastern corner of the United States here. I'm going to move this back here. There we go. Okay. And areas like Florida may get some storms too, as well as areas up to the north and eastern portions of the United States. And there's also a chance for severe weather for areas like Fargo and up in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota up there, and Omaha, Nebraska. Those areas could definitely see some storms later on into the afternoon and evening hours, and should all potentially diminish by the time we hit early morning on Sunday, where we should see more afternoon showers and storms. As you can see, by 10:30 a.m., you can already see some of the green dots starting to form here across the, especially across the coastal areas and like the Gulf Coast states and the Atlantic Coast states as well. So that's pretty much what's going to be going on across the country here. We're going to go into highs for tomorrow. These are our highs for our future track temperatures through the day today and into tomorrow. As we hit the noon hour, most temperatures around the area should hit the 80s, especially the south and eastern states, maybe even higher than that. And I know some areas are even higher than the numbers that they show on here on the screen. By the afternoon, we should hit the lower 90s here for Shreveport, lower to mid 90s across the Arklatex actually. But though that heat and humidity is stretching all the way through Texas into portions of the deep south states like the Carolinas, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, all the way into the Midwestern states like Chicago. That's not a Midwestern state, that's a Great Lakes state. But St. Louis, Missouri, and Tennessee, Kentucky, those areas, and even heat and humidity being dealt with in states like Nebraska, South Dakota, Kansas, parts of Colorado, Oklahoma as well. As we move through the rest of the daytime hours, we should see temperatures calm down at least through the overnight hours here, calm down into the 70s for most of the country actually. You may even see the 50s up there near Seattle. As we move towards the later or the later into the forecast range, as you can see here. Saturday afternoon, we should see highs rise even higher potentially into those mid 90s for Shreveport, into the low to mid 90s for San Antonio and Texas, possibly the upper 90s. Just looking at what the colors are saying there. As we move into the evening, we should see temperatures calm down once again heading into Sunday. Sunday afternoon, we may see highs back into those 90s. But look at that. Sunday afternoon near Phoenix and southwestern Arizona, it's going to be extremely hot. Dangerous heat and humidity on the way for areas near Phoenix. 110 is a forecasted high for areas in Phoenix over there. So it's definitely have to drink a lot of water if you're traveling to Phoenix as we move through this weekend. But here's a severe risk as we move through the daytime hours today. The severe chances are higher for areas like the Dakotas and Nebraska and parts of Minnesota for today, under that slight risk of severe weather. There's also a marginal risk for severe weather in for the Deep South and the Atlantic Coast states as well. As we move towards tomorrow or Saturday, the same range is highlighted in the slight risk of severe weather there. That instability is expected to remain in those areas over there, and that low pressure system is expected to push into the not the Gulf, but the Great Lakes states over there near Michigan and Wisconsin, and bring more severe weather over there. And that marginal risk extends all the way into portions of Colorado, and I believe that's Wyoming, just north of there, and Nebraska, including areas like Iowa, and the northern portions of Oklahoma. No, that's Kansas and Missouri. And that's for Sunday. So now moving on to our tropical outlook here. Out there in the tropics, there is an area of low pressure that has the potential of forming within the next 2 days and 7 days. It's a low chance as of right now, but it has the chance of moving across the peninsula, that Mexican peninsula there, moving into the Gulf of Mexico. Right now, it's in the Caribbean Sea. It has a chance to move into the Gulf of Mexico and form in that yellow range that you see there. I'm going to zoom into it just so if in case you guys cannot see that. That range right there has a 10% chance of formation within the next 48 hours or 2 days, and the 20% chance of formation within the next 7 days. Now, in the Pacific, this storm system here has a very high chance of formation. If not, it has probably already formed into a tropical storm. But earlier this morning, it did have a 90% chance of formation within the next 7 days, 70% within the next 2 days. But we're not dealing with any types of storms like that over here in the Atlantic Basin, at least. This one has a 20% chance within the next 7 days, 10% within the next 2 days ahead. Now, if this forms potentially into a tropical storm, the next name that it will be Barry on the list. We've already seen Andrea, and it formed into a tropical storm, and it dissipated just as quickly as it formed, pretty much. It was, I believe it was earlier this week where it formed into a tropical storm, and it was pretty much gone by the time we hit Tuesday or Wednesday. But the next name on the list that it will take if it reaches tropical storm level will be Barry. Now, in terms of the next 2 weeks ahead, July 2nd through 8th, we have a 20% chance of potential tropical storm formation out in the Pacific. But if you look at the week after that, nothing much after that. We're actually expected to see below average rainfall through that time frame, July 9th through the 15th here. So definitely some dry conditions on the way, and that may be telling of if this potential system out there may develop or not. But we'll have to make sure to continue to pay close attention to the forecast here, just in case if this tropical storm forms. And if it does form, we'll continue to let you guys know and keep you first aware and first alert to the latest updates on if that tropical storm forms, or if that storm forms into a tropical storm here. Now, that wraps up today's episode here for the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you guys have any questions that you want us to answer, feel free to email us. Email any of us, just the first and last name first dot last name at gray.tv or at ksla.com. You can email us with any of your questions or any topics that you want us to discuss here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the episode for today. I'll be back on this episode Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. I'll also be on KSLA News 12 this morning on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week because meteorologist Evan Thomason is taking some well-deserved time off. So I'll be on, once again, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Make sure to tune into those episodes. We got some great things ahead for you guys next week on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. Once again, thank you guys for so much for tuning in. I'm meteorologist CJ Cartledge, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday.